Alrighty. Welcome back to Kamen Rider Review, episode number 23. This reviewing basically episodes 13 through 21 of Kamen Rider V3. The very first episode is an introduction to a brand new villain who is here for 18 episodes. Yes, he starts off episode 13, his last end is in episode 30. Excuse me. This is basically reviewing most of the episodes he appears in. By the way, what does Dr. G look like? That's him. Basically a warrior who occurs on X. And yeah, he's a general. Yeah. That's simply what it is. So, basically, the way he's introduced at the end of episode 13. It's like, we see his G symbol pop up all over the place. And it's Dr. G. And we finally don't see him until like the last 30 seconds of his debut appearance. So it's like a cameo, and then we see his full appearance the very next episode, just as his abilities. Excuse me. Yes. Now, pretty much in the way for his debut, they basically bring in like a monster known as like a beast monster to basically be there. And it's revealed at the end of the episode he was just there to be a distraction, just so Dr. G can basically get to Japan. That was really the whole point of it, basically the whole thing of scaring people, killing people whoever sees him. Yeah, it was just a distraction. That was really the whole point of it. Yep. And the thing with 13 is, it's one of 2 standalone episodes in this whole 9 episode batch. But you could say it's a prelude into the next couple episodes. Yes, because basically 14 15 is a 2-parter, mostly put to explore Kamen Rider 3's weaknesses, while basically introducing a couple new monsters. One is the toilet boil monster, and there's even another one introduced right after he's defeated, which is basically like a, let's see in this episode here. Okay, it is a bat burner. Yes. Oh, the actor who plays him, he's basically played by Masaru. Actually, it's Hiroshi Nakata, which he would actually appear in Super Sentai several times. Oh yeah, he appeared in Super Sentai. He appeared in Bioman, this Mason. He also appeared in, I believe it was in Battle Fever J as a one shot character. But yeah, this guy's appeared a few times over the course of basically the history of Super Sentai. He actually does come back in Amazon, so it's almost like, yeah, he actually does come back. So basically, it's 2 guest appearances, and then finally he's named a regular character in basically Kamen Rider Amazon. Mm-hmm. Yep. Apparently he's also in 01. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's something that came out. It's actually, I think it's the most recent one. It's actually no, it was actually about 2 years ago that this basically concluded. So, there's that. Mm-hmm. But that was his most recent appearance today. But this was actually his first appearance ever in Kamen Rider. Mm-hmm. And the whole point of this guy just pick up right where the last villain left off. And he's there just for episode 15, and that's it. Now, that's the thing about 14, 15, 16. Only 1 monster, not 2 in this same episode. Well, actually, that's the case for episodes 13 to 16. All 1 monster per episode. I guess I like that for a while, and then start with 17, right back to doing 2 monsters an episode. Yeah, I have really no idea why. It's just basically the way it is. It's all about exploring his weaknesses. It does reveal something that was shown before. When he basically uses special energy, he can't transform for 3 hours, and then we hit 3 hour mark. Just for hit 3 hour mark, couldn't transform. This one basically explains the reason for that. So, yeah, it reveals his 4 weaknesses. They revealed one of them already. As the case of the Air 3, not yet per se. But basically, you kind of say this 2-parter is loosely just exploring more of the abilities of V3. That's simply put, basically what the purpose of these 2 episodes are. While also unleash a new monster. Yes. And in the case of episode 16, which has a one-shot monster again. Mm-hmm. A gecko missile. Yep. Excuse me. Yeah, he's there just for one episode. And he's there to destroy an oil refinery. Yep. So how they get caught? This is actually a couple times it happens this episode where basically one of the scouts actually it's happened 3 times where they're on the shoreline for something, and this older guy and this kid, and the kid just happens to be one of the Rider Scouts. This happened 3 times over the course of one, and 16 was the first 3 time this happened where we had the scientist who escaped or at least they witnessed something, like in the case of another monster, the torpedo one, where you had this old man, this guy and his son, and they witnessed basically a boat being destroyed, and a father gets taken over. He's basically rescued at the end of the episode, and the whole point was just sink ships. Yeah, that was basically, I think, in episode 19. Yeah. That was simply the reason for it. Now, in the case of 1718, this definitely feels like an epic 2-parter where Destron's plan is spread a virus over the course of Tokyo, killing a lot of people. That was simply the reason for it, and they just happen to have 2 monsters. The second one, of course, ends up basically turning against the first one, turns against the second one. So you briefly have an ally of the Kamen Rider, except he didn't really trust him at all, so he ends up destroying him at the very end. And also, it takes some time. They do, in fact, find a cure for this devil spray virus. Yeah, pretty interesting 2-parter. Yeah, 19 was the whole thing about sinking ships. Now, 2021, these 2 are interesting because you got more exploring V3's abilities, and also in 21 we see the return, well, kind of anyways, we hear the voices and the image of Kamen Rider 1 and 2. Yeah, I revealed they actually did survive. They did survive the events of of episode 2. Thanks to a medallion that was given to him, and of course we have 2 monsters one, obviously. Excuse me. And the monsters of this one are basically a guillotine stegosaurus and a syringe spider. No joke. And it's on the girl, he gives them, oh yeah, kill the scientist who escaped. And the scientist is surprisingly not killed this time. I think like the last time I could think of, they actually had a scientist escape. He actually got killed off. And this one, he survives. That's a surprise. Yes. So, we do have a happy ending for that one. We see, oh yeah, and of course they inform about what happened to him thanks to, just by sheer coincidence, a Rider Scout just happens to be nearby, witnessing this and basically relaying a message through all of the Rider Scouts throughout Japan and basically their headquarters in Tokyo, which relays basically the Chief, V3, and the 2 associates at headquarters to go straight there to deal with them. And they also basically have to deal with 2 monsters. The syringe monster actually briefly brainwashes the Chief and the 2 girls, though thanks to Kamen Rider basically battling the syringe monster, he got a cure, and they basically fixed no problem. And also, we also have where apparently their plan is to put the whole city to sleep. That's really the plan. They want to put the whole city to sleep just so they can conquer the city. Yeah. Yeah, but so just walk right in. Have a wake up. Oh crap! We're occupied by this terrorist organization. Yeah, that's their master plan. And by the way, the leader himself basically have Dr. G being upset over a device malfunction, and of course the leader of Destron is like, "Oh, calm down, Dr. G. I'm sending an expert out basically to fix the damn thing." By the way, they call it SS. It's called Secret Sleep. Now, I'm sure that basically the Raiders probably was clever to call it SS as a nod to the Nazis because, well, Destron is evil. So, of course, initial it SS. It's just that basically when people think of SS, people think of the frickin' Nazis. Though this has nothing to do with Nazis at all. So, we actually had Kamen Rider V3 pose as the expert after stealing his suit, which he looks great in a white suit anyways. No wonder why by the end of the decade he puts on a white suit for Super Sentai. Yep. But he's big one. Yep. And of course, let's take down the base here. And we also see Dr. G in the field. Very rare. This actually was I think it was the first time I could think he was in the field. Because usually he's in the base the whole time. But this is actually the first time we actually was outside, which is quite interesting to say the least. Because if you look at, let's say, Dr. Death, for example, from the original Kamen Rider, do you know how many times he ever actually went outside? And in all his appearances, he only went outside 3 times. You were thinking, what about the Colonel? I think he went outside once the entire time, basically, he was there. In the case of Master Hell, he went outside a few times. General Black went outside many times. But in the case of Dr. G, it takes basically his 9th to last it takes basically 9 to last 9 basically 10 the 10th to last episode of his appearance here for him finally to go outside. Does he bother the Kamen Rider? Nope, that's his monster deal with it. And he basically, after the monster phase, like, curse you, and I have more monsters to deal with. Yep. But, yeah, pretty good episodes, though it just basically like, oh, yeah, we have basically a repeated threat plot, like I said, 3 times. A Kamen Rider scout just happened nearby, and they reported straight in. I get the fact that's their job, but happening 3 times over the course of just a few episodes, that's a bit sheer coincidence. But yeah, not much else to say about these 9 episodes. They're pretty good. Okay, so that's episode review. Next up is going to be Overlord. And if I could time, I could do a little bit more of Kamen Rider. Now here's the thing before I continue here. Now, my stopping point has changed twice. Excuse me. First, I want to end with 26 because halfway point in the run. Then I changed that to 28 because this is something I really want to get to. But then I decided to just screw it. Just go straight to 30 just so I can finish up Dr. G's appearances. Which will probably happen over the course of the next few episodes. I mean, overall, there's only 9 more I'm going to do. And that's it. Do I think I'll do all 9 next episode? Probably not. If I'm lucky, I might be able to do 3 or 4 at most after I finish doing Overlord. Okay? But do this next video. Bye.